My name is Joe Martinez, AKA Ovo Joe. I'm from Boyle Heights, California. I roll with Volkstyle Car Club. This is my VolkTales. I've been into Volkswagen since I was about 17 years old. My uncle was the one who got me pretty much started in the Volkswagens. All my family had Volkswagens back in the days. So, you know, I pretty much grew up around Volkswagen. So my first Volkswagen I ever remember seeing, my uncle had this 1963 parked in our backyard, and I used to play in it as a kid. You know, turn the steering wheel and just act like I was driving it, you know. As I got older, my other uncle, my Uncle Tootie, he, back in the 80s, he had a bunch of other Volkswagens. And I remember riding in a convertible with him way back, Porsche alloys, you know, IDA motor, just rolling around the neighborhood and barking at everyone with the motor. So that was pretty cool. And then my Uncle Gabe, he also had a big part in actually getting me my first Volkswagen, you know, when I think I was about 17 and a half, and he played a big part in getting my first Volkswagen. That was mine. So the first Volkswagen I ever acquired was a 1967, and I picked it up for 500 bucks, like maybe 92, 93, all the way like in Claremont. And my Uncle Gabe, his good friend's neighbor had the bug for sale, and it belonged to his neighbor's mom. So when we went over there to check it out, you know, I didn't know what I was looking at. You know, I was just like, okay, well, if it runs, you know, 500 bucks, here you go, I'll take it. You know, and it was crazy because the passenger side had a low back, and then the driver's side had a high back, like out of like a 68 or a 69. So that was the first thing I changed on that thing, was the seats right away. As the club started, everyone would always say the two Joes. So then when I got the Ovo, he was still my road dog, but he didn't have a car. He was always passenger. So his nickname was Passenger Joe. So when they would talk about us, it would be like, well, what Joe you talking about? And man, it's Joe with the Ovo. So, you know, my name, it stuck. So Ovo Joe, and then there was like Passenger Joe, or, you know, something like that. Yeah, that's how I got Ovo Joe. Back then, you know, 500 bucks for a bug was kind of in the middle range, you know what I mean? Because you could probably get something painted and done up for like $1,000 back then. You know, so 500 bucks was like in the middle, but the car was registered, the car was running. It was just sitting there for a while. It was all dusty, and I actually drove it home, and I didn't even know how to drive stick. So, you know, it was a long drive home from Claremont to beautiful Boyle Heights, you know? But my mom was happy with it. My mom was happy. Cruising with all my boys from Volkstyle, you know, because that was the first bug that I ever had, and it was the first bug for me for being Volkstyle, you know. So the best memory was just cruising with my boys up and down the boulevard, you know. That was our thing to do. We'd go up and down, pick up on girls, chicks, you know, do a little Mac or, you know, or something like that, get some numbers, you know. So that was like the best memories ever. That's all I wanted to do after that, you know. And it was pretty cool, man. It was real cool. There was a bunch of different ones, but there was a few that I really liked, you know. I gravitated more towards the convertibles, you know, because I just liked the feeling of top up, top down, you know. So that's where I stuck with. But I had more Ovos than convertibles, so hence the name Ovo Joe. But the cleanest bug, I probably want to say it was probably like the DKP guys, because we used to go up to the Classic way back in those days, and they had some bad rides, you know, and a lot of us were primers. We had primers, and we had fenders that were mismatched, and, you know, but we were just rolling. That's all we cared about, was just rolling, you know. And so the cleanest bugs I want to say was like, way back then, had to be like the DKP guy. Primers are, you know, where back in our days, like in the early 90s, we used to buy a car and it would have some badass patina. But that wasn't the thing. It was like, nah, we don't want patina. We want a paint job, or second best was primer. So we would go to Home Depot or our local hardware store, pick out a color, and then come back with like 10 cans and just cover up that really nice patina. So at least it was one color, you know, one solid color, and lowered on some wheels, maybe a little motor, you know, 76 or something, sounds, and we were rolling. So primer, when I say primer, I mean, you know, primer, low budget paint job. So half of Volkstyle when we started was primers. So, you know.
What year did that went out, like 2000? What year?
Nah, that wasn't even that late. That was like 93, like 94, 95, 96-ish, you know, and then we started getting into to paint jobs and stuff like that. You know, we had a couple guys. One was Freddie, little Freddie Malfavon. He worked at his uncle's body shop, so he painted a couple of our cars. My boy Roach, his brother-in-law painted, so he was like one of the first cars in Volkstyle to be painted. So, you know, just hookups and people we knew at the time. I didn't have a painted car, I want to say, until like 90, damn, my son was born in 97, so my painted car, yeah, 97, 98, I think I painted my first car, which is my convertible that I drive now, 1966. There's quite a few. Package gears really nice. You know, there's been a lot of nice cars come and go. So it's really hard to put a finger on one. You know, I have a lot of favorites. Roach has always had a painted car. His car was really nice. All the time it was lime green at first, like a real bright pistachio green. And then he painted it, purple. Then it was sweeter than wine, and then now it's blue. But that car, you know, he was always painting, always clean, kept his shit up there. So, you know, I got a hats off to him. A couple of my other boys, you know, Pato had a nice car, a blue one. I helped build that one way back in about 95, 96. We built a Mazda Miata blue Bug in his driveway. And that was like one of the first cars that I ever put hands on. And you know, that was a really nice car too. He ended up giving it to his brother for high school graduation. Rest in peace, Nelson, my primo. And he ended up rolling in, and you know, those cars were really sentimental to the club, you know. My boy Rudy Tellez, his square back, he had a really nice pearl white. I think it was a white with a blue pearl square back on cookie cutters, and he also had alloys with a booming system. I also had a 62, called it Nasty Habits, mean sound system in that thing. So, you know, there's quite a few cars that stand out. Eloy's yellow 60, I think it was a 62. 62 used to romp the streets with a nice beef motor, you know, smashing on those Mustangs and Camaros and all those type of cars. You know, Hondas, oh man, we used to smash on the Hondas. And then the rotaries too always gave us a good challenge. So Lizard had a really nice one, which he still has too. 56 oval ragtop that I really liked. It was really badass. I'm an oval guy, so you know, I really like that one, his purple one. He calls it the purple one. He always talks about it, but it ain't been out, so really nobody has seen it many years.
Now, remember I told you guys I still had my first Bug when my mom bought me back in 1996? Well, there she is. She's still in one in great shape. I mean, I just got to put a motor on it. I have so many cars I haven't been able to get this one out, but eventually I'm going to get it out, you know.
But that thing used to smash on everybody in street races and stuff. So we used to go to the street races a lot too.
Where those going to be at?
Those street races, they used to happen right here on Valley and Soto, right under the bridge. That was like the spot we would meet up at, and then there was a couple guys that would race there, and then we would head on over. When the cops would come, we would head on over to Stadium Way, the famous Stadium Way. they've been racing that stadium way since the 80s. You know, you can talk to somebody about that who grew up around here in the local cities. That was the spot. Girls, racing, fast cars, bugs. You can go down there and you line them up against a Mustang or a Camaro, and we're talking about like the 80s, 90s Camaros, V8s. And the bugs were out there spanking some ass, and then the Honda scene came in, and then we used to set up races with the Hondas. So, we used to do all that kind of stuff, man.
How'd you usually set up a race? Like you see somebody, like how did it happen?
Yeah, like a lot of those guys, they would like see the bugs as like cheap, slow cars, like hippie cars. But we had ours lowered. We had ours on alloys or cookie cutters with 48s or even 45 Delordos. And they would try to pick on us, like, hey, well, what's up? $100. What's up? And all right, let's do it. You go out there, line them up, take them out, $100, shit, we eating that Mickey D's, my treat, $100 get you a gang of nuggets. Back in the day, what I used to like to run was PPI, Precision Power. That and Kenwood, all the legit stuff. I never had a pullout in my bug because I didn't want to cut the dash, to fit a pullout. But I had an in-dash radio and with the RCAs out the back, and I used to have like 2 PPI amps. They were white. I don't know if you go far back, but they were white with like a round tube kind of on the side, and then they had like a little colorful circle design on the front. Those are the ones I ran. Actually, as a matter of fact, I got a PPI in my garage too, put away. I got big old PPI, a silver one with a red line. I still got that. I actually got an old school EQ Kenwood, the one everybody now wants to run now. EQs, we used to use the Epicenter. Well, it wasn't really like an Epicenter. It was more like a crossover. Speakers, we used to use back in my day. Well, when I was bumping, I used the Serwin Vegas. The Serwin Vegas they were hitting. Fosgates, I had Fosgate 10s. Man, they used to rattle the whole back window, with the pop-outs and the rag top open, sound coming out. And yeah, we used to bump. Everybody had their sounds, everybody had their motors and the rims, so that was a nice paint job. Or if you were primer, clean primer, with all the chrome, so. I gotta give it to Lizard, man. Lizard and John. I was in John's bug. It's a 58 rag top with turbo, 2275 T6 ceramic ball bearing turbo. I remember all that. He used to always tell me. And we went to the street races, and then we hit like a corner. The cops came. We hit a corner, and this little Honda rolled up on us, and he started revving it up. And I just remember John letting it loose, man. And we hit like 100 miles an hour real quick, smoked that Honda way back there. And I was like, hell yeah. I was in the car for that one. But the most memorable one was, I think it was Lizard. We were at a track over here in the back we used to call it the trash trucks. And Lizard had his purple oval, and I think he had a 2275 with IDAs, and he was all set up, but it was a street car. And I remember some of the Honda guys called us out. It was some dude, a real good friend of ours named Charlie from the G-Ride Racing. And they had some pretty fast Hondas back then. And he called us out, said, what's up? I'll run whatever you guys got. So Lizard was like, hey, what's up? I'll do it. So we went out there and we put some money on it. I want to say probably about $800 to $1,000, and they ran it. It was, Charlie had, I think, like a B18, if you know Hondas, a B18 hatchback, all hooked up, with all the accessories and everything to make it fast. And Lizard got him by probably like 4 or 5 cars. And man, after that race, we almost fought too. They couldn't believe it, but they used to call the bugs, in Spanish they're called, bugs are called pulgas. So it used to be like, bring your pulgas. And it's kind of like, not derogatory, but to us bug guys, it's bug. It ain't a pulga, so So yeah, we were like, all right, we're gonna take our pulgas. We'll show you what's up. And Lizard has that one, man. I'll never forget that one. That one was really cool. That was in, I want to say early to mid 2000s. Yeah, so that goes way back. Yeah, man. The best part of the VW community that has changed is all the car clubs coming together to support each other's events and support each other in times of need, you know, members passing away or whatever. You know, us going to show up, show our respects, and basically the car clubs coming together, man, because I remember back in the day, you know, we just cared about ourselves, you know, and our own guys. And you could be broken down on the side of the road back then, you know, in the early 90s, and we'd just drive right on by. Like, oh, he ain't from my club, so, oh well, you know, good luck, call AAA, you know, something like that. But you know what, now, I mean, I probably hang out a lot with a lot of car club, other members from other car clubs too now, you know? And I think that changed a lot in the industry, you know, as far as car clubs and meets and cruises, going to, you know, H2O, negative, you know, rolling out there and just representing and showing some love to them, to the rolling VWs, to, you know, to straight bugging, to the German folks, to, you know, even back in the days, the DKPs and all that. So, you know, I think in the last 20 years, that has become a big part of the community, which is great, man. I mean, I could count on some of these guys. If my guys can't come through, I can call some of these guys from other clubs and they'll come on through. I'm sure, you know, you've had that happen to you too, so. Well, I think I got a pretty good deal one time. You know, I had my first bug, Volkstyle, was a 67 Brown, the Beam. And then I was driving down the street one day and this dude just cut me off and T-boned me. So back then, you know, it was the penny saver or the recycler, you know? So pretty much the recycler, I went up in there, you know, my bug was crashed, the whole side was totaled. Insurance paid me out. I think they paid me out like $1,500 or something like that. See, you know, bugs weren't really worth that much. And we're talking, shoot, that was like 1995, maybe 96. And yeah, 95 maybe. And I went in the recycler and I was looking up the ads and I saw this ad in there for a 56 Ovo rag top. And I saw that and I wasn't able to go check it out. I had to go to work. So I sent my boy Martin to go check it out. He went and checked it out. He was like, bro, you need to get this car. It's a nice car. It was a basket case, but it was all there. So $500, another $500, but an Ovo this time. So I was like, hell yeah, I'm jumping on that. So I went and checked it out, paid the dude off. Actually, I got it like in Eagle Rock area. And then I towed it home and pretty much with the insurance, I kept the 67. So all I did on the 67 was motor, tranny, Ovo, seats, rims, Ovo, you know? I lowered it down, I had it all hooked up, and that was, you know, my pretty much my second Volkstyle car, and it was primer black. So, you know, that's probably one of the best deals I ever got. $500 Ovo, come on now, man. That Ovo now, the way it sat when I bought it, it's probably worth like 10 G's now, you know, but they come and go, hence the name Ovo Joe. I've had so many Ovos already, like, you know, I lived up to my nickname. That was, for me, was my best deal. So back in the day, I remember trading like a 65 hardtop for like a 65, 64 bus, straight across. You know what I'm saying? Like you used to have this nice little 65 bug, and then dude that owned the bus wanted a bug, and you, oh well shit, I'll jump on a bus. And we used to trade straight across. You don't hear about that now, because if you try to get a bus and you're trying to trade a bug for it, they're gonna want cash on top now. When they started skyrocketing, I wanna say like in the late mid 2000s, it started going up. If you think about it now, all the way the pricing is on the Volkswagens now, man, we're getting mad respect from the lowrider community, from the hot rod community, you know, now. Back then, they didn't even want us parking next to them in the parking lot. Cause you know, it was like a little cheap old bug, $500 bug. Get that out of here. I got my $50,000 hot rod right here. I don't want a $500 bug. So, you know, nowadays, we got all that respect now because finally the price, you know, skyrocketed. But I want to say the mid 2000s, you know, when stuff started going up higher and higher. I mean, that Ovo I bought for 500, I sold it for 1,500 bucks. And that was like a lot of money, you know, for that time. So, you know. Super Beetles were never in. You know, Volkstyle, we only allow 67 bugs and older into the club. We don't allow anything past 67. But we did make an exception for one of our members, rest in peace, Chris. He had, I think it was a 74 Gia, Carmen Gia, green, and he had just recently put some alloys on it. He passed away, but we made an exception with that one because that car, you know, he had Freeway Flyer trans, Chico Bill motor, you know, the wheels, all the interior, brand new paint. And that car, he bought that car almost brand new back in like 74, 75. He actually brought his firstborn child home from the hospital in that car. So that car was a special car, man, and we made an exception for that one, but I don't think we're gonna make any more exceptions, you know, after that one. 67 and older, and that's it, man, you know? You know, let me say something first. If you don't got the backing of your family with this hobby, then you ain't got a hobby. Because without my family, my wife, my mom, my brothers, my sister, backing me on this hobby, you know, it'd be really hard. It takes a lot of time, you know, away from family time, especially when you're from a club, because you gotta do, you know, club stuff. It's almost like another job. So my wife, we met back in 1995 at, believe it or not, Florentine Gardens, Hollywood. We met out there at the club. We saw each other. We, my boy, Passenger Joe, he got her friend's number, and then we ended up hooking up. And long story short, when we were gonna go on our first date, we met at my boy Joe's house, and he told her that I was coming on my bicycle. And she tells me now that she was like, oh man, a bicycle, he don't even got a car. So when I rolled up in my 56 Ovo ragtop, she kind of like, whew, wiped the sweat off her head and said, whew, well, it's a bug, but at least he got a car. He ain't rolling up in no bike, you know? So it was funny because my boy Passenger Joe, he was the one on the bike. He didn't want to tell them that, but I think he said that just to see their reaction, because it was a first time double date, and our first date was to Tommy's at Rampart. So every year we go and go eat at Rampart Tommy's for our anniversary. So social media has helped out a lot, like with hard to find parts, people knowing people, you know, meeting people. Back then, you know, it was beepers and payphones, you know. We used to get a beep to a number. You don't even know who that number is, you know, you don't recognize it. Then you would have to pull over at the local, you know, right, wherever you see a payphone, 25 cents, bang, who's this? With social media, now, you know, you don't even have to see each other to know what people are doing or what, you know. So I think social media played a big part in that, and also like in the hard to find parts. You know, you could order something from overseas and bring it down. And now that back in the day, we used to have to go and search people's backyards, you know, like kind of like this. You know, oh, I need a smoothie. Anybody got a smoothie? Yeah, come to my house. Then you see they got smoothies, they got wheels, what's up with those wheels, you know what? And that's how it was back then. With social media, now you just take a picture, post it, boom, gone, sold, you know? And social media is cool, I like it, you know, but it just kind of ruined the actual hunt, you know, for the hard to find parts and all that. The one everybody sees me in is my 1966 coral red convertible. I've had that one for about 27 years. It's been painted the way you see it now, 24 years now. So the paint on there is 24 years. Chrome on the wheels, I want to say about 22 years. So I've had those wheels for that long. Nowadays, everybody 4.5, early 6, 4.5, early 6. Man, I had that since way back, you know? And the only reason why is because of my uncles. My uncles knew, you know, back in the 80s, alloys was like the shit. That's like the poor man's Porsche, you know? So they were getting the alloys off the Porsches and putting them on the bugs, you know? And my uncle Tootie always told me, it's 4 bolts to drop a motor and you only run Porsche alloys on your bugs, that's it. And I learned really long time ago, really young. So for me, Porsche alloys, you know, that's how I roll. And that bug, my wife won't let me sell it. I've already tried to sell it a couple times and she won't let me do it. She said no because when she met me right around that time is when I acquired the Volkswagen convertible. It sat for a couple years and then I went ahead and I painted it for Volkstyle, the club. So, you know, that was my first Volkstyle painted car. I also have a 1955 convertible, which you probably see behind me. And then I also got a 1954 Ovo ragtop semaphores, European model, that I'm working on currently. That's gonna be my patina monster. And then this one, my 55 convertible, is my next Volkstyle car. That one, you're gonna see it all done up.
Any last words or shout outs or advice?
I wanna shout out my boys from Volkstyle Car Club. I wanna shout out my wife, my mom, my family for supporting me. Shout out to all the clubs out there that support us, and we go out there and support you. Shout out to Big D'Angelo for doing VolkTales. This is awesome thing he's doing, and that's it.